All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 599 of the First and Frame Rate Show. We are one away from 600. Don't have anything special for the 600 episode. I'm just going to keep it as business as usual and put out the best content possible. But we're about to reach another milestone, and it is definitely thanks because of you guys. And today we're going to talk about Coach Arthur Smith. He's a boring coach, but it's a very, very good thing. I love the way that he approaches the game, how he approaches his players and the team, and approaches his job. And it's very telling on the way that he handles himself and the way that he gets results. And it flourishes, and it is actually kind of contagious because other players, well, not other players, but players want to come play for this guy. And I think it's a really interesting, it's an interesting avenue about Coach Arthur Smith. So we're going to talk about that on this episode. And we'll give you my thoughts and opinions on what I think and why I think he's good at being boring. If this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I am also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. I highly recommend you guys to jump over to the podcast avenue if you haven't already. We are growing over there. It is moving exponentially. I guess that's the right word. I think T.I. used that a lot. But I think that we're moving really fast over there on the podcast avenue. And go over there and be a supporter, subscribe, follow the show, and listen over there. I mean, if you want to watch the visual side, the YouTube and Rumble is here. But it's something really special. Shout out to everybody who's on the podcast side. You guys are awesome. Hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast, let people know what we're doing over here. And it's just going to continue to get better and better. I can also be found on on Twitter at VFBaller. And over there, I talk about things that don't make it to the show. And also I have a website, firstandframerates.com. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. Coach Arthur Smith, what can you say? A guy is overachieved in both years with the Falcons. Started out with, not the best cast of players the first year he was here, and ended up going 7-10 with got probably like the best final year out of Matt Ryan in that year, and actually made some noise throughout the season. And it was actually, pretty impressive, knowing that we should not have done much, especially with the issues that we had with wide receivers and some issues we had with defense. But Coach Arthur Smith and Dean Pease was able to put some things together to actually rack up some wins. I mean, I think we were supposed to win like 4, maybe 3 games that season, ended up winning 7. And it was actually pretty cool. The second year, the first year we got rid of Julio Jones. The second year we got rid of Matt Ryan and Deion Jones as well. And people were like thinking, all right, what are we doing here? Marcus Mariota comes in, Calvin Ridley has this situation, and it was kind of a bummer. But we did draft pretty well. The first 2 years we drafted pretty well. And I think we end up getting into the right spot. That second year coming in, Coach Arthur Smith was, really on his way to molding this team the way he wanted to. And all the while, we were still supposed to be, 2-15 or the 3-14. End up winning another 7 games. And while all this is going on, you still got guys understanding that we're about to have some money with the salary cap. We're about to have some space to bring people in because we're going to get rid of a handful of people. And a lot of these free agents started coming here. And why is that? Did the culture necessarily change with the Falcons? I mean, we all could see it. If you've been here since forever, you kind of knew that the culture was changing a little bit. But what you didn't see is like the actual influence Coach Arthur Smith had. And the reason why you don't see that, because he doesn't say much. He talks a lot when it comes to the media, but to me, honestly, it feels like he says a whole lot of coach talk. Almost like a whole lot of nothing sometimes. But the whole lot of nothing he actually says a lot, if that makes sense. You listen to some of the things he said when he talk about personnel and the guys that are on the team, and and all the things that he tried to expound upon when it comes to answering questions, he says a lot. He just doesn't say it in a way that makes you go rah rah and happy and get hyped. I mean, unless if you're, you really understand what's going on with this team and if you really understand football. The only thing that Coach Arthur Smith wants to do is win football games. And you could tell that from the jump. And he does a fairly good job of winning games. I mean, don't get me wrong, 14-20 is not the best record that you want to start off with, but given the circumstances, and you had a pretty damn good quarterback with nobody to really throw to outside of Kyle Pitts and Cordell Patterson, which, that wasn't no slouches on the field, but you had a rookie tight end and a guy who was playing running back and receiver all over the place. To the second year, you got a couple more weapons, but you didn't have the quarterback. Marcus Mariota came in and really showed us who he was. But despite all that, we were in the running for the NFC South title up until like 3 or 4 games left into the season. And I mean, that's just a testament to this coach. I mean, a lot of people don't want to give him enough credit, but this team should have been dead in the water. This franchise should have been going backwards. Any other coach, I ain't gonna say any other coach, but most coaches that would have came here, we would have been dead in the water probably, like 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 games below 500. But I love what he's doing here. We're able to get some guys here that actually fits the mold of what he wants. And I think we're going to be in a rude awakening. I think someone's going to be really surprised. I think this team is going to severely overachieve this year. I mean, I just did a video. They said that we have like the 31st worst offensive core in the league. I don't believe that. I mean, that's just some ridiculousness that was wrote because somebody was just being lazy. There's no way that 30 other teams are better than us, and the worst team behind us is the Arizona Cardinals. We're not that bad. I think with our coaching alone, we should be at least at the 25-20 mark. And if you look at the talent, you can make a case for us to go higher. But nevertheless, I don't want it to be a situation where we act like we deserve anything, because at the end of the day, we don't. You don't go below 500 2 years in a row thinking you deserve anything. You just have to be a student of the game and understand what's going on here to say, like, all right, Coach Arthur Smith has made some moves. He brought Jesse Bates in. He brought David Adamaya in. He brought Caden Ellis in. He re-signed Caleb McGarry. I mean, he was just talking about this at a recent press conference about why they moved Jalen Mayfield to right tackle. And to be honest, he should have been right tackle the whole time, but that's a whole nother story for another day. But they moved him to right tackle. They talk about the Bijan Robinson pickup, all the other guys that we did end up picking up is the Clark Phillips of the world. We're getting weapons on both sides of the ball. I think we just lost one, with Avery Williams being our special teams guy. But Cordell Patterson could go back there and do that. Penny Hart could go back there and do that. We might find another diamond in the rough with somebody who can get us, 20, 25, 30 yards average on a kickoff return. So I just think at the end of the day, we're looking at a coach that's really trying to find his way and trying to be successful. I mean, it would be awesome to see him have a winning season next year. I think he has the tools. I'm going to be honest. I think he has the tools. You look at the schedule. I think this schedule is very favorable. I don't see too many teams that really made a come up, this past schedule, outside of like I said, the Lions or the Jets. I think everybody else, maybe the Vikings. Everybody else is like pretty much the same way they were the year before. I just don't see where the Falcons could not win at least 8 to 10 games. But it all goes back to the coach. As boring as he is, as plain as he is when he answers questions, he does crack a smile every now and then. He does congratulate, on certain milestones. But for the most part, he's just sitting there telling you what he wants out of his team. He goes out there and be a coach. And for the most part, I think he's done a pretty good job coaching his ass off. You just got to understand, like, some of these coaches, man, they can't deal with the pressure of what's going on. When you have a Coach Smith, you got Terry Fontenot, you got those guys together and the rest of the coaching staff, looks like we're going to be in a really, really good spot for the next few years, So I just love what's going on here. I really do. It's no reason to hang your hat or have your head down thinking about this team. Are there question marks? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, even if the question marks with the quarterback, the cornerback, or is it the lineman or the linebackers, or it doesn't matter. We're gonna have our issues. But at the end of the day, we got to figure out if we have the right coach to steer this team to be somewhat successful. And to me, I feel success is basically getting double-digit wins, and then we'll just go from there. So let me know what you guys think. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I think Coach Arthur Smith is a pretty good coach so far. Given the hand that he was dealt with, it was tough. But he is 7-10 both seasons. Now he's about to get a nitty-gritty, starting to put players on the field that he really wanted via free agency and or draft, and I think they're going to be all right. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble, also on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, Google Podcasts. You guys over there on Apple Podcasts, hit that 5-star rating. Let people know what we're doing over here. Pretty solid, and I feel like the best Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons podcast out there. Let people know what's going on so they can be informed on my thoughts and opinions on both of these teams, both of these franchises, and one of the franchises and the other, the program. I'm gonna get out of here. You guys enjoyed the rest of your evening. I will see you guys on Wednesday. Yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday, and I'll see you then. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy, and y'all be blessed. Peace.